All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Keep thy heart with all diligence. See to it that nothing but godlike thoughts and ideas enter into your deeper mind. Hear the age-old truth again and again, until it forms a conviction in your subconscious mind. Hear the absolute truth, I am, and there is none else. One power, one presence, one cause and one substance. When inscribed in your heart, it becomes compulsive, and you'll be compelled to good and to right action. Some are automatically guided. They have the touch of Midas. They've repeated themselves over and over again. Infinite intelligence guides me. Whatever I do will be right. Right action is mine. Morning, noon, and night. They reiterate these truths because there is a principle of right action. There is a principle of guidance. And they're activating it from a universal or infinite standpoint. And some of them, and many of them, do have the touch of Midas. Grace, you know, is the automatic response of your subconscious to your conscious mind thinking and visioning. I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Wonderful truth. Marvelous to reiterate that as you drive along the road. A rabbi on the plane some years ago told me that when he was a young boy, all the boys and girls were taught to read and study Deuteronomy, the 6th chapter of Deuteronomy. Very beautiful chapter, by the way. They had to realize that God was one and all-powerful, and they committed many of these verses to memory. Deuteronomy 6, for example. This is what they had to remember. 6th chapter of Deuteronomy. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart. Remember, in thine heart. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes. And thou shalt write them upon the posts of thine house, and on thy gates. Thou shalt fear means respect, thou shalt fear the Lord thy God and serve him, and shalt swear by his name. He shall not go after other gods, of the gods of the people which are round about you. For the Lord thy God is a jealous God, lest the anger of the Lord thy God be kindled against thee and destroy thee. For jealousy in the Bible means you mustn't know another power. You must not give allegiance to any created thing. You must only recognize the one power only. Hear, O Israel, the Lord thy God is one Lord. Well, the idea behind all this is that a firm conviction was to be placed in their heart, you know, because they kept repeating it. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God. Love is allegiance and loyalty. And thou shalt know no other God, meaning they give power to the one presence and power. And you refuse to give power to anything in the phenomenalistic world, or to any man, woman, or child, or sun, or moon, or star, or any created thing. The moment you do, you have no God. For I, the Lord, as it tells you, am jealous. Jealous in the sense you don't know another. You just are married to the one. Allegiance to the one. Now, this rabbi explained to me that the mezuzah, for example, is a small case or tube, typically of metal or wood, and with an aperture in front that is traditionally attached by Jews to the doorpost of the home. Oftentimes I lived in the same house as a Jewish doctor friend of mine, and he would always touch this as he opened the door. That contained a piece of parchment inscribed on one side with the verses 4 to 9 of Deuteronomy, which I just read to you. Also the 13th and 21 verses, such as thou shalt say unto thy son, We were Pharaoh's bondsmen in Egypt, and the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand. All beautiful verses, by the way. So these verses are written inside of that. On the other side with the word Shaddai, meaning a name for God, the beautiful one, the God of light. And folded in the case are two, so that Shaddai is visible through the aperture. It's over the doorpost, you see. And the phylactery is the Greek word for it, also tefillin, either of two small black leather cubes having leather straps and containing a piece of parchment inscribed with these verses, the 4th to 9th, and the 11th and 13th and 21 of the 6th chapter of Deuteronomy. I read some of these verses for you. They're very, very beautiful. You ought to read them. And one cube worn is strapped to the left arm, and the other to the forehead during religious services. And naturally, if you moved your arm, it would remind you, and if you moved your eyes, it would remind you too. Well, of course, people in all walks of life, down through the ages, where in India you get on a plane sometimes and a man comes on with a little Buddha attached to him. Another comes on with some amulet or charm, or they wear Christopher medals or a rosary bead. All these things have no power, of course. These little strap or the phylactery or the tefillin or these things that they wear, the mezuzah, have no power, of course, but it's simply to remind them that they might begin to contemplate the presence of God in their own hearts and the only presence and power. Likewise, Christopher Medal, of course, the late, this present Pope, I think, said he never lived, that man never lived. But people do wear the medal and they think it's going to protect them. Of course, it's only a piece of tin. It has no power. But it's not to be ridiculed, of course, because it does remind people of a higher power, and they may believe in it and all that. So it's a reminder of the truths. But the main thing is to incorporate these truths in the soul. So you don't need a talisman, or an amulet, or a charm, or a Buddha, or a statue. Or you don't need a mezuzah, or a phylactery, or any of these things. Because with your thought, you're in communion with God, you see. And you can communicate with it instantaneously. And realize that the Lord is your shepherd, and you shall never want. You can remind yourself, but my God shall supply all your need according to his riches and glory. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Remember, the truths have to be incorporated in your heart, not in your head. For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, and so does he express. You must eat the apple before it becomes your bloodstream. Likewise, you have to absorb and digest these truths. And it's not vain repetitions. Do not gain the ear of God. But what you absorb and digest and incorporate into your soul. Therefore, these truths, as they repeat them and begin to dwell upon them, reiterate them and remind yourself, and go within yourself and announce these truths to your mind regularly, gradually, again and again and again and again and again. Gradually you'll begin to believe and become convinced that there's only one power. It'll become a philosophical absolute in your mind, that the I am within you is the only God there is. It's all-powerful, all-wise. It's the lost word. It's lost to millions. It's in their mouth, morning, noon, and night. The word is nigh in thy mouth and thy heart to will and to do. Moses tells you that there's no use going over the sea for it or going up into the air for it. It's the word is nigh in thy mouth and thy heart to will and to do. Here are some great truths, but my God shall supply all your need according to his riches and glory. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. God who giveth us richly all things to enjoy. But with God all things are possible. Before they call, I will answer. While they are yet speaking, I will hear. According to your faith be it unto thee. If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. All things be ready, if the mind be so. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? I will lift up mine eyes unto the hill, from whence cometh my help. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. Here you are told you shall receive that for which you ask. It shall be opened to you when you knock, and you shall find that for which you are searching. This teaching implies the definiteness of mental and spiritual laws. There is always a direct response from infinite intelligence of your subconscious mind to your conscious thinking. Therefore, you can program your subconscious mind constructively, harmoniously, peacefully. If you ask for bread, you will not receive a stone. You must ask believing if you are to receive. Your mind moves from the thought to the thing. Unless there is first an image in the mind, it cannot move, for there would be nothing for it to move. When you come to the Ebell Theatre on Sunday, first is an image in your mind. Of course it is. When you think of your mother, you see your mother in your mind. Your prayer, which is your mental act, must be accepted as an image in your mind before the power from your subconscious will play upon it and make it productive. You must reach a point of acceptance in your mind, an unqualified and undisputed state of agreement. This contemplation should be accompanied by a feeling of joy and restfulness in foreseeing the certain accomplishment of your desire. The sound basis for the art and science of true programming of your subconscious is your knowledge and complete confidence that the movement of your conscious mind will gain a definite response from your subconscious mind, which is one with boundless wisdom and infinite power. The easiest and most obvious way to formulate an idea is to visualize it, to see it in your mind's eye as vividly as if it were alive. You can see with the naked eye only what already exists in the external world. In a similar way, that which you can visualize in your mind's eye already exists in the invisible realms of your mind. Any picture which you have in your mind is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. What you form in your imagination is as real as any part of your body. The idea and the thought are real and will one day appear in your objective world if you're faithful to your mental image. The process of thinking forms impressions in your mind. These impressions in turn become manifested as facts and experiences in your life. The builder visualizes the type of building he wants. He sees it as he desires it to be completed. His imagery and thought processes become a plastic mold from which the building will emerge. A beautiful or an ugly one, a skyscraper or a very low one. His mental imagery is projected as it is drawn on paper. Eventually, the contractor and his workers gather the essential materials, and the building progresses until it stands finished, conforming perfectly to the mental patterns of the architect. You can use the visualization technique, quiet the wheels of your mind, then picture the loved one whole and perfect. And that loved one is telling you the miracle of God has happened. I never felt better in my life. You see the light in the eye, you see your loved one smile. You don't see them in the hospital, but you see them home doing the things they love to do, radiant and happy and free. You build that up in your mind, that would be called prayer. Realize a picture is worth 1,000 words. William James, the father of American psychology, stressed the fact that the subconscious mind will bring to pass any picture held in the mind and backed by faith. Act as though I am, and I will be. Act as though you now are what you long to be. Live the role in your mind. Do it again and again and again. Gradually it'll sink into your deeper mind, and wonders will happen as you pray that way. Let us realize now that we are going to go by the King's highway. We will not turn to the right hand, nor to the left. And your way is God's way, and all God's ways are pleasantness, and all his paths are peace. Place yourself under God's guidance. Realize God is guiding you now. There is right action in your life, and the Holy Spirit goes before you, making straight, joyous, and glorious your way. Your highway from now on is the royal road of the ancients. It's the middle path of Buddha. It's the straight and narrow gate of Jesus. Your highway is the King's highway, for you're a king over all your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Send the messengers of love. They're called God's messengers. What are they? The messengers are God's love, peace, light, and beauty, are going before you today and every day to make straight, beautiful, joyous, and happy your way. Always travel the King's highway, and then you will meet God's messengers of peace and joy wherever you go. Go by the mountain-top road, knowing that with your eyes stayed on God, there is no evil on your pathway. Whilst driving a car, riding on a train, bus, airplane, or on foot, realize God's spell is always around you. It is the invisible armor of God, and you go from point to point freely, joyously, and lovingly. The Spirit of the Lord is upon you, making all roads a highway for your God. And the Lord, he it is that doth go before thee, whithersoever thou goest. Your conviction of God's presence is strong and mighty. Know the spiritual atmosphere in which you dwell goes before you, making straight, beautiful, joyous, and happy and prosperous the way. Realize divine love fills your soul, divine peace floods your mind. And realize God in the midst of you is guiding you now, and the light of God illumines your pathway. Know there's a perfect law of supply and demand, and you're instantly in touch with everything you need. You're divinely guided in all your ways. You're giving of your talents in a wonderful way. It is written, I will bring the blind by a way that they knew not. I will lead them in paths they hath not known. God bless you and keep you. The Lord cause his face to shine upon you. The Lord lifts up his countenance upon you, is gracious unto you, and gives you peace. My peace I leave you, my peace I give you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your hearts be troubled. Be not afraid. Trust in God and do good. Thus shall you walk in the land, and verily you will be fed. Fed with what? With wisdom, truth, and beauty, with harmony, health, and peace. This is why they said, Lord, evermore give me this bread.
Sunrise, sky so bright, dancing in the light. Life's a roller coaster ride. Hands up, just hold on tight. Paint my dreams in pink. Don't overthink. Love is on the Shadows in the alley, whispers down the street. Neon signs and broken dreams, empty hearts, mechanical beats. Crumbling towers, concrete cold, lost souls selling what they know. Eyes that shine like broken glass, got no future, got no past.